at Dulles Airport. Find out the truth about 9/11 before another anniversary passes. Learn the truth. Your country needs you. Educate yourself.
This won't be on Fox News tonight. If you're looking for the special 9/11 Truth Report, it won't be covered on MSNBC. It won't be covered on Fox. You might have to do some work for yourself. I apologize.
No one can convince you of anything. People with black t-shirts are here today to motivate you to investigate 9/11 and unwrap 7 years of lies, 7 years of horrendous agenda, and a progressive, accelerated, fast pace towards tyranny. Everyone in this country has a responsibility to educate themselves on the facts that have been hidden from you. 9/11 was an inside job. That is a summarization now of over 13 million people in this country who have done the research. Who is responsible for 9/11?
Help me.
Who's responsible for 9/11? Well, what we know is that currently on the FBI website, Osama bin Laden, he's wanted for over 13 other terrorist attacks, but for some reason, Osama bin Laden is not listed on the FBI website for the crimes of 9/11. So at this point in time, I think we can rule out the man that the FBI said they don't have enough evidence to condemn, Osama bin Laden, and we should then start to investigate 9/11 on our own. To answer that question, who carried out the events of 9/11? Very important.
Who's responsible for placing the bombs in the building? Was it the same 19 Muslims?
Would you like a fire?
Believe what you want. Who killed John O'Neill?
This is a heinous truth that no one will ever want to
Seriously.
believe, but it will take time. It will take educating yourself and studying history before you can crack this one open. Dear lady, please do your research as a citizen of the United States to save free humanity from the evil tyrants that have corrupted and infiltrated this once great republic. Investigate 9/11. Everyone in Washington Square Park this afternoon, this should be your wake-up call. You are 16 hours away from the anniversary of 9/11, an attack which will be labeled as a false flag terrorist event. For hundreds of years, governments have sought to occupy and oppress people, to restrict their rights in order to force them down a path that would seem unintelligible. 9/11 was this country's day. 9/11 was the excuse for legislation which has been passed every day since 9/11. Starting 2 weeks after that day was the Patriot Act, followed up by the Military Crimes and Commission Act, followed up by Real ID Act, anti-hate crimes, anti-hate speech. Today we stand in this country with 20 new pieces of legislation that are prepared to be selectively enforced by anyone in this country who disagrees with the current administration. And we're waiting today for all of these laws and legislation which have been passed to go from selective enforcement to go to be the everyday norm. If you're asking yourself, I don't believe 9/11 was an inside job because I don't see how it helps people who are in power, understand one thing: the mechanism of control is fear. Fear of your livelihood being lost and not being able to pay for your families. Fear of stepping onto a plane only to have it crash into a building 2 hours later. Fear is the greatest mechanism of control that we must be aware of. And the instrument of false flag terrorism has great precedent throughout history. 9/11 was an inside job. It's a summarization of over 7 years of investigating what the government told us on 9/11. It is an examination of the 9/11 Commission report. It's an examination of what we weren't told and what was hidden from the American people. Many of us believe it is the role of the media. It's the role of the news authorities to clear up what has been lied to by the government to the American people. And we can see now clearly that the military, industrial media complex is complicit with the events of 9/11. This movement started nearly 7 years ago with victim family members. Victim family members who are now known today by the Jersey Girls, Jersey Widows, They lost three of their husbands in the North and South Tower on the morning of 9/11. They were there during the 9/11 Commission report hearings. They stood up, they asked questions, and they were told they would receive no answers. They asked the prime question: who is the terrorist network that you are identifying as Al-Qaeda, of whom the United States government has funded covertly through 1979 through 2008? They're saying that they don't believe what they've been told about the terrorist network known as Al-Qaeda. Because when you follow the money, one of the key operatives of the Al-Qaeda terrorist network, the United States intelligence operations that actually prohibited information that could have prevented the terrorist attacks of 9/11 from reaching the appropriate parties within U.S. intelligence services. 9/11 was an inside job. It's an overly gross simplification, summarization of what took place on 9/11. It's called false flag terrorism. It's a CIA coined term. The idea of a terrorist event being an inside job has precedent in history. This country fell victim to a false flag terrorist attack prior to our entry to Vietnam. The Gulf of Tonkin has been declassified as a false flag terrorist event. And the attack on U.S. liberty has been classified as a false flag terrorist event. No American in this country or free citizens of the world can deny that inside jobs have been used throughout history to progress the agenda of the ruling elite. There are so many entryways into 9/11, so many different paths in order to get yourself interested. But understand this, the greatest smoking gun of 9/11 is what we saw in plain sight in our very eyes. It's what was omitted from the 9/11 Commission report. It starts with one building that many of us who have investigated 9/11 know, and that is World Trade Center number 7. World Trade Center number 7 has got to be the most biggest, obvious cover-up in American history. On 9/11, 40% of Americans, when you ask them how many buildings came down on 9/11 in New York City, they're going to tell you 2. Unfortunately, 2 buildings didn't come down on 9/11. 3 buildings collapsed to the ground on 9/11, all of which fell to the ground at free-fall rate speed of gravity, collapsing into their very old footprint, not disturbing any of the surrounding buildings. 5 hours after the collapse of the North Tower, building number 7 collapsed. A 47-story skyscraper collapsed in the exact same fashion as the prior 2 buildings. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This building was never hit by a plane. This building that collapsed to the ground, whose owner admitted that it was a controlled demolition on the PBS documentary Rebuilding America, we have a realization that we have to face. We have to face the facts that World Trade Center number 7, admittedly, was a controlled demolition. And with that admission, both by video evidence and admission by the owner of the World Trade Center complex, Larry Silverstein, we got to start asking him some very significant questions. If WTC-7 was brought down by explosives, what happened to towers 1 and 2? All 3 towers exhibited controlled demolition characteristics. 9/11 was an inside job, ladies and gentlemen. No one sitting in the parks of Washington Square this afternoon reading the book actually wants to contemplate that thought. But understand that you have an opportunity at this point in time to investigate that may not be available in 6 months or a year from this day. You've got to take the weapon away from the regime known as false flag terrorism by educating yourself on its use.
Lee and I write in our book that we think the commission in many ways was set up to fail because we had not enough money, we didn't have enough time, we'd been appointed by the most partisan people in Washington, the leaders of the House and Senate,